Nothing's wrong with a good picture. But if you're looking for a true work of art, there's something else you need. So we're going to take a photo today, a beautiful photo, thank you Unsplash, and work to change it into a work of art. I'm going to start by turning it into a black and white image. However, in black and white, it needs a little extra. I'm going to take the clarity down so she's a little more mysterious. Add some grain to the photo to give it a sense of history and make it look more like it came from film. And now I want to play with the light. In black and white, what's really important is the light and the shadow. So you need to play with the contrast. As you can see, less contrast isn't helpful. More, though, brings a little more mood, and that's what you're looking for. Something evocative. I need to take the shadows even darker, but I want to bring the highlights up so her face isn't too dark. She's looking pretty good, but not quite there yet. So let's play a little more. A little more grain, adding to that film effect. Okay, there's our before, here's our after, but I'm still not satisfied. I want to give it a little more age, a little more sense that it came from another time perhaps, and to add a little more mystery to it. What is this picture? Where did it come from? Who could it be? So I'm going to take this texture overlay, and I'll put a link to where that came from in the comments below. And I'm going to add that on top of our picture. Whoa, she's gone now. Okay, so we need to first change this overlay so it fits over the picture. I'm going to bring the size down, but as you can see, when I shrink it to the right width, because I want those dark edges, then it's too short. So I need to go into edit the image. Just a little aside here, I was going to save, but I decided that would take too much time, so I apologize for this distraction here. Hold on just one moment. I do suggest you save your work here, even though I didn't fully go through the process in the video. But now back to what we're doing. I'm back on the Edit tab, and I'm going to go to Distort, so I can change the length of this texture to fit over my image. All right, now we need to bring the image back. I could, of course, play with the transparency, the opacity of it, but I prefer to change the way that the two layers relate. So you go into the Layers menu. Here's an example of what the opacity change would do. I don't really like that. So I'm going to go over here to this drop down, see how it says normal, and I'm going to show you some of the other options. And I like to just work my way through these until I find what I think I'm looking for. Because sometimes you can get an effect that you didn't really anticipate. That one's not bad. Maybe I'll stay there. We'll try that for now. Okay. Let me go into the background here because I feel like she's lost a little of her presence. And I'm going to use the Dodge tool. Change the size a little bit to fit her face better. And I'm going to lighten one side of her face where the light would be shining on her. The nose, the forehead, her cheek, the center of her chin, the just above her lip below the nose on the one side. Then do a little more. Oh, look, I got white dots. Too much. I'm going to have to go back and fix that. Here you can see how it's brought her face a little more to the front by adding light to it, because we tend to look at what's most in the light. Now I'm going to go to the burn tool and I'm going to darken the edge of her hair because it's a little lost in the sky, and I want to be sure you can tell where the edge of her hair is. So again, she pops forward a little bit more. Changing the opacity just a bit, so I like the way that she's coming through the layer. There's still one thing that's bothering me. What's most forward in this picture is her hand. So I'm going to work on that in a minute. But for right now, first, I want to do another overlay to give some more age to this photo. I want to choose a sepia tone. First, I have to find my color. It's a little bit of a variation on the orange, kind of an orange-brown. And I want to have some light to it, but not too bright. So here comes that. I'm going to use the paint bucket. Oops, I'm on the gradient. I'm going to use the paint bucket to lay that over the photo. There we have it. And again, I want to change my blend mode so that I can have a nice effect. There's some here that are really interesting, but I really want her to stand out. So I'm going to keep trying these until I come to one that I like. Oh, that's pretty nice. Well, let's try soft light too. I think I like overlay. Yeah, we'll stick with that. Now let's go work on that hand. Back to the burn tool, which adds more shadowing. I'm going to cover her fingers here because they're the part that's standing out the most. And hopefully send that a little further back so it's less prominent. Again, your eye's going to go to what's brightest. Okay, adding a little more light to her face. Under the eye, on the cheek, forehead, above the lip, center of the chin, edge and end of the nose, tip of the nose. Okay, and maybe still a little more darkness on the hand. I'm going to zoom in here because I feel like her eyes are a little dead. She could use what's called a catch light, that tiny bit of light that you see in the eye, particularly if it's a studio photo and there's a ring light, you get a little dot of light or even a little ring of light. So I'm going to come in and use my paintbrush tool and add, oh whoa, that's way too much. Okay, let's go back, take that out again. I had pressed enter 3 times, it was too much, so that's a little better. I'm going to add 2 dots in each of her eyes. Now again, you can play with the opacity of these. I also right now have that as the top layer. I'm zooming out to see how it looks. Just a little bit of a zombie. I'm going to move it under the sepia, so that'll push it back a bit. Yeah, that's really the best place. And I'm going to move the opacity down so it doesn't show quite as much, but still gives her eyes a little bit of presence. That's looking pretty good now. I will tell you, I went back later and moved the highlights a little bit to the left so that they were not quite as present.